Good afternoon, Columbia, Missouri. It's Dennis McKay with Mobile Fitness Solutions and Beachbody Coach, and I am here on Saturday and going to see what I can get done in an hour of food prep. I know I was here last week and I did my oatmeal, and my phone, the battery ran out, so I've got the charger plugged in today, and I've got my timer here so that I can make sure that we get about an hour in. I can show you what I get done, what I can get done in an hour. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start. If I don't clear it again, I'll start that timer for 60 seconds. In just a second here. I mean 60 minutes. In just a second here. There we go. Okay, it's off and running, and so are we. Now, I know yesterday I talked about buying some groceries. I bought some also during the week to prepare for food prep day, which is mostly on Saturday, although I do some in between. So while I'm getting the almond milk here, put a cup and a half of almond milk into the pot here so I can get this measured out correctly. Now the oatmeal that I use, I don't know if I mentioned this last week, but I use steel cut oats, and those, according to all the popular literature and science and so forth, steel cut oats are actually better for you than just the rolled oats. And in my opinion, it's going to be 3 cups. The rest of this I'm just putting water in besides the almond milk. There's 4, and I usually use about 5 cups of almond milk and water. I guess it just helps it cook a little quicker. The instructions say to use a cup for every serving size, which would be 40 grams of oats. But I think that, in my opinion, that just takes so much longer to cook. I'm going to go ahead and put this on the stove here and start it boiling. And try to keep an eye on that as close as I can, so that it doesn't boil over. Now, back to the oats. Yeah, rolled oats or steel cut oats are apparently more healthy for you than just the rolled oats. You can kind of see the texture there. In my opinion, it does have a more nutty flavor to the oatmeal than just the rolled oats. And I don't know, you can maybe look online and find some information about rolled oats. Once I tried them, I liked them a lot better. They're a little more expensive, but for the flavor, I mean, you know, every time you spend $1, you know, you have to determine whether or not the value is being made up for the extra cost. And in my opinion, it's worth it. So that's why I use the steel cut oats. Now, typically what I do is try to determine what I need and what I already have. So I'll just show you here. I've got tomorrow's dinner already prepared here. This was leftover from, I think, Monday, Tuesday, something like that. So I've got rice, I've got an egg, I've got chicken, and food prep is an ongoing thing. You know, if you think about preparing, you know, at minimum 3 meals each day, that's going to take time. Plus the snacks that you eat, that would take time as well depending on how complicated the snacks might be. I earlier this week cooked some rice, so I've got the rice, which is here, ready to go for this coming week. So this is tomorrow's, okay? This is for Sunday. I've got this taken care of. I have the rice, as I mentioned, over there, and as you can see, I boiled some eggs yesterday in this container here, so that's enough for this rice here. And I had some chicken that I cooked last week. This was frozen. I'm going to let this thaw out. Let's see. I don't know if it's a good idea to take the top off right now, but that's okay. So this is frozen. I'm going to let this thaw, and I'm going to use this for this. This will be all of next week's dinners, I guess. And another thing that I got yesterday was some spring mix salad that I can put into that. And I don't know if you've ever heard of a food called bibimbap. It's Korean food, which is just rice, and they use chicken or beef, and use usually a fried egg. I use boiled egg, and they use different kinds of vegetables like spring mix salad, radishes, carrots, different things like that. I'm just going to use some spring mix salad, and that seems to work really good. It really fills you up, and it's really not that many calories, and it's good for you too. So I'm going to let this thaw over here. Now, that's dinner taken care of. I'm working on breakfast for next week right now. My mid-morning snack is going to be a turkey wrap. I have one that I prepared last week. I've actually got two in here. So tomorrow's turkey wrap is ready. Don't need to really work on the turkey wraps right now. I will probably tomorrow or Monday, since I've got Sundays and Mondays already prepared. Next is lunch, and that is my sweet potatoes and yellow squash, carrots, and turkey, ground turkey. Yeah, another thing that I did this week was this took a very short amount of time. Just cooked up some ground turkey here, so this is ready to go in terms of the turkey. And I've got some carrots also that I cooked last week, which are here. I'm going to let those thaw out as well as the chicken, turkey. Now, what I'm missing is the sweet potatoes and the yellow squash, which I have right here. So I bought the sweet potatoes around Wednesday of this past week, and so I've cleaned them, and now I'm just going to trim them up a little bit. I have the yellow squash still to wash and to cook, and I'll do that, probably wash them today and cook them tomorrow. But right now I am going to kind of clean up these sweet potatoes a little bit here, and I'll show you how I do that. Just cut the ends off of each one and look for any what you might call bad spots, like this, some of these different spots, and I'll just trim them off. I know that some people don't care about that sort of thing. I don't know, I'm a little obsessive compulsive, so I always try to clean these up real good before I bake them in the oven. I don't know. It seems to work good for me. It may take a little extra time, I'm sure it does, but can't beat peace of mind, right? Again, I think I mentioned before that what I use is Korean or Japanese sweet potatoes. That's what these are. And I got these over at Lee's Market, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with Lee's Market, but I believe it's on 7th Street, 7th and Cherry maybe, I'm not sure 7th Street, 8th, I'm not sure exactly, but it's a real nice place. It's they sell Korean foods specifically, and other kinds of international kinds of foods, and you can get these kinds of sweet potatoes at other places, but I've gotten them at other places before. But I was downtown, and going by Lee's Market was convenient for me, so I stopped there to get these. And this one doesn't look too bad. Now, I think I'll go ahead and that one's ready to go. Keeping an eye on that boiling water and almond milk, so I can throw the oats in there. But yeah, you can get these sweet potatoes at a lot of different places. But Lee's Market was convenient for me, so I went there. And they're a little more expensive than, you know, regular American sweet potatoes. Oops. I guess you saw that. I'll let it boil over a little bit. I'm going to turn that down to a simmer. Of course, I'm going to need to stir that a little bit. Well, what's the old saying? Watched water never boils, or watched bread never toasts, something like that. But anyway, yeah, I've made this mistake a couple of times. Anyway, but at least it didn't boil over, so that's okay. So I'll leave that on simmer while I continue to clean up these sweet potatoes here. But yeah, as I was saying about the sweet potatoes, these, I think I said this last week, that these are sweeter, in my opinion, than just regular American sweet potatoes. There's no salt added, no sugar added. I don't do anything to these. These are really amazing when it comes to sweetness, just naturally on their own. I know that at Thanksgiving time, everybody likes to get sweet potatoes, yams, and that sort of thing, and really doctor them up, you know, with butter, sugar, marshmallows, things like that. In my opinion, well, I don't really like that anyway. So, I mean, I don't like those kinds of sweet potatoes when they're prepared that way. I've been eating clean for so long that eating anything fried, anything real buttery, anything real sugary, it negatively affects my system, to be honest with you. One of the benefits of getting on an exercise program and eating clean is that once you've been on it for a while, you'll discover that things that you used to do, when you go back to them, even for a meal, you know, they negatively affect your system. Just because your body is so used to having clean, whole foods in them, you'll find that when you do go back, if you go back, even for a meal, or there's you've run into a circumstance where you can't avoid it, that it's really not good for your system, and your system knows that. I can remember when I was probably around 15 or 16, there was a friend of the family over at our house, and of course, when I was younger, I could eat anything. We were having pizza that night, and the family friend and his wife and young children were over, and so we'd all gotten some pizza, and I was getting myself something to drink, and trying to fill up glasses for other people in the house, my parents and the family friends. And I asked this Dr. Carnes, I said, what do you want to drink? And he said, water. And I said, water? I mean, my whole life had been, built on Coke, 7-Up, Dr. Pepper to a lesser extent, but mostly just Coke. And when he said water, I thought that was something that was alien. That was like from outer space. And he said, yeah, sure. He said, you can taste your food better. And I thought, well, doesn't food taste the same no matter what you drink? And really it doesn't. When you drink water, it's clean water anyway, it's pure, it's clean, and it has no kind of aftertaste or funny. It's not carbonated, that's for sure, like Coke and stuff like that is. And anyway, he said to me, try it for a month. He gave me a challenge. I don't know if he would remember this now, but anyway, he asked me to try it for a month. And I can remember that I made a conscious decision to drink nothing but water and milk. That is, I've never really been a tea drinker, but tea is okay. But especially at that young of an age, I wouldn't sit around drinking tea. Yeah, I took that challenge, and I didn't. I mean, it was an informal challenge. He didn't follow up with me or see if I would do it. I really don't think that he thought that I would. But I did drink nothing but water for about a month. And I can remember coming in from being outside mowing the yard. And we had a pretty large yard down in the Boot Heels where I grew up. But we had a pretty large yard. And I came in, it was hot, sweaty, I was miserable. And I thought, well, okay, I'll just get some water. And I thought, wait a minute, it's been a month, I can drink Coke again. So I went and got a bottle of Coke, like a 2-liter bottle of Coke out of the refrigerator that we had, and I just started drinking it, or trying to drink it. And my body, my throat resisted it. I tried to drink it, and all of the liquid just stuck right here. It's like my esophagus wouldn't let it go down. After being cleaned out for just a short period of time, the course of a month, my body said, hey, we like this way you've been doing this. We like this water that you've been drinking. We like that you're not putting sugar and carbonated drinks into your system. So when I reintroduced that, my body just went, stop, don't do that. And of course, I didn't spit it out. I just held it in my mouth and slowly swallowed it. And I decided, you know what, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to drink Coke, 7-Up. Some people like Sprite, but I like 7-Up at that time. So I decided I'm not going to drink carbonated drinks, things like that anymore. If it has that much of a negative effect on my body after having been cleaned out, for a short period of time. So ever since that time, 15, 16 years old, I really drank nothing but water. Occasionally I have the desire to drink something like a root beer. There was, I remember there was a Heritage Festival that Columbia has every year, and they had like homemade sarsaparilla, something like that, which is like root beer. And I got one of those, but I had to get just a very little bit, and I had to drink it really, really slow. The flavor was good. It was, something that, I hadn't had for a while. So the flavor is good, but it was more like a treat, It wasn't something that, it definitely wasn't something that I would go back to every day. But I've had, what is that stuff, Canada Dry, with ginger ale. I've had that in some like fruit punch, like at parties and things like that. And again, it's just, you have to sip that stuff really slow. Take it easy on that. that sort of stuff. Occasionally I'll get an IBC root beer. I say occasionally, it's probably been 3 years since I had an IBC root beer, and probably around that long since I've had anything carbonated. But I've never, since 16, I've never gotten on anything carbonated and drank it consistently. You know, it's always like, you know, like a treat that I'll have every once in a while. You know, it's just, I mean, the other thing is the cost. I mean, I don't know how much Cokes go for these days in a 2-liter bottle. I mean, it's just outside of my realm of thinking. I don't think about that, so I don't have to budget for that. So I don't know, you know, how much a 2-liter of Coke would even cost. But you know, people do other things. You know, just besides drinking water, they buy Brita filters or other kinds of tap filters, which I've got a Brita filter, you know, that I use. I still use tap water for some things, but overall I use a Brita filter, and that's how I drink my water these days. Water's just a lot better for you anyway, besides the negative effects that you get when you drink something carbonated. And I sure don't drink beer. I've never, you know, even in my younger days, I mean, I did have days when I would drink a lot of beer, but it was never as fun, you know, as people made it out to be, right? I mean, I never understood people saying, hey, what are you doing this weekend? Oh man, we're going to party. Okay, what does that mean? We're going to sit around and drink beer. It doesn't sound like much of a party to me, but, you know, whatever. You know, if that's what people like, if that's where they are in their lives, then that's okay. I mean, I did it too. It's not something I would do ever again, and I just don't like alcohol. You know, thinking about a party doesn't make me want to drink beer. You know, it makes me want to have fun, you know, but not drink alcohol. You know, plus you wake up and you feel terrible. At least all the people that I've ever known, and it's been a lot of people who drink alcohol, you know, they always talk about, oh, their head hurts so bad the next day, and I've been in that situation too. My head is hurt the next day too, and it's not something that I would, you know, it's not something that I would desire. I much rather desire working out, you know. That's a much better feeling, in my opinion. I know I talked about brain-derived neurotropic factor last week, and even this week when I had gone live a couple of times. You know, dopamine, serotonin, and norepinephrine are chemicals that your brain releases as a result of physical activity, as a result of, you know, exercising, working out. And you really don't get those chemicals any other way. And drinking sure isn't a way to get those things. So when it comes to, you know, feeling good, you know, brain stimulation, things like that, don't go for alcohol. Go for dopamine, serotonin, and norepinephrine. It's inside there, and everybody's got it, you know. So, yeah, stay away from the alcohol. I'm almost done with these sweet potatoes here. Let's see. I've got one more to go after this one. Just wanted to show you, you know, again, what it's like to actually go through meal prep, you know. So maybe if you're at home and you've prepared, if you've bought some sweet potatoes, I do the same things every week or every other week. It's sweet potatoes, it's rice, it's boiled eggs, it's turkey wraps, that sort of thing. So if you at any time want to prepare your meals with me, it doesn't have to be the same meal, but if you want to take an hour, and see what you can get done, in an hour. Oh, that one's in the floor. I'll have to pick that one up later. I would be glad for you to follow along with me, doing whatever it is you do. Maybe you can leave me some comments and, leave a recipe or something. So maybe there's something that I haven't thought of or haven't tried. As I've mentioned before, I'm a creature of habit and a little obsessive compulsive. I guess I've got that OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder thing. So once I get on something, I'm usually on it for a long time. And I've had various different diets. I think I've mentioned that before. For example, for breakfast, I used to, at one time, have like an crustless quiche or egg souffle type of thing. I took like, I don't know if it was 12, 16, 18 eggs, whatever it was. I would, crack those and whisk those up and put them into a casserole dish, and then I would chop up red peppers, yellow peppers, and orange peppers. I don't like green peppers. I don't understand it. Green peppers just don't. They leave a bad effect on me, I guess. But the other peppers, the red peppers and orange peppers and yellow peppers, I really like. So I would have the eggs, the peppers, and then I would put spinach inside there as well. And then I would put 6 pieces of cheese on top, evenly spaced, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I would put that in the oven and bake that until it was good and done. And then I would take that out and divide it up into 6 days. So that's what I used to do. I did that for a long time for breakfast, and I think I might have gotten that out of the Insanity Food Guide too. Just about, all the different Beachbody workouts come with a food guide, and I might have mentioned before, I didn't really pay attention to them because I thought I knew what I was doing. But when I got Insanity, I thought, well, it was time for a menu change. So I decided I would see what was in there. And that was one of the recipes that was in there. And that worked good for a long time. But I got to be honest with you. Cutting up those peppers, beating those eggs, it took a lot of time. And so eventually I got to the point where that's just not worth it. For me it wasn't. But it was good. Now we get to the point where we're going to wrap these up. I'm going to give this oatmeal a stir here real quick. Make sure it doesn't settle. Kind of scratch down some of this foam that I created by mistake by letting this boil too much. It's still stirring. Holy smoke, we've been going for 30 minutes. Hopefully I can get this done within the next 30 minutes. Alright, now let's get some tin foil here. Wrap this up. But yeah, I think maybe I kind of lost track a minute ago. I wanted to show you what food prep is like, from beginning to end, because so many times, on cooking shows or whatever it is, people show you, well, this is what we've got here. Like they will have already done this. They would have already done this and say, okay, now we're going to shove this in the oven, and then out of another oven they pull some, completely cooked sweet potatoes, and then they go from there. Well, yeah, that's good to show you the end product, but it doesn't really give you an idea of how much actual time it takes. So I thought I would just show you this. Hopefully it's beneficial to you, and you can get some value from this. As I mentioned, food prep is an ongoing thing for me, as I mentioned, with the rice, with the eggs, with the ground turkey there. It's preparing a little at a time so you can put it all together and have next week's food ready to go. And you're not cooking for a single meal each day. So you're not cooking 3 or 4 or 5 times a day for that single particular meal. That would just, you wouldn't have any time at all, you know. So many people want to show you, whether it's results from having worked out. They want to show you what somebody looked like before they started, and then show you the picture of after they're done. That's great, and it can be motivational. That's true. I'm not knocking that. But what did it take for that person to get to that point, that end point? And I say end point, just like food prep, nutrition for me, just like food prep, fitness for me is a never-ending thing. I've never gotten to a point where I've said, okay, I'm done. You know, there have been programs that I completed that were done in 90 days time or 60 days time, and that was the end of that program. But that didn't mean that I was finished with exercising or working out. And the other thing is, it doesn't have to be a job. It doesn't have to be boring. There are so many different workout programs that are out there. The Beachbody, which is what I'm partial to, because I am a Beachbody coach, has so many different options, from P90X, which is the first thing that I really embraced, but before that, the original Power 90. That was what did it for me. And the thing was, after I finished those programs, I thought, I want a new challenge. I want something else, because I want to keep the achievements that I've made. I can't just stop. I can't go back to, eating fast food and stuff like that. I just couldn't. So I wanted to keep the achievements that I've made. So how do I do it? Well, I found other programs that were fun to do, things that I enjoyed doing. After Power 90, I did P90X, and then after that, I'd done Insanity, which was absolutely insane, which is why they called it Insanity, I guess. But that was a really tough program. But I started doing that at around the time that I became, that my symptoms really started to come to the forefront, the symptoms of my hypothyroidism. So I really didn't last very long with Insanity. After I'd gotten better, I did go back to it and went through the full 60 days, and that was great. But it's more lower body focused. There are no weights. You can get results, but it's just not for me. There are other programs that I'd gotten into. I'd done Combat, which was really good. It's like an MMA style thing, which is what Core to Force, which is what I'm doing now, is based off of. But I'm doing that because I have to get my back in shape. I have to get my back in shape from the fall from the ladder that had happened last year. So yeah, it's easy to get down when you have injuries, things like that. Be honest with you, after having overcome hypothyroidism and then still having ongoing problems, that's something that's not just cured. It's not like a cold. You can't just take medicine for it and it's over. I have to take medicine for the rest of my life, and because of the way the gland functions or doesn't function, I'm constantly having to adjust my medication. It's constantly screwing around with my metabolism. So, I don't feel as comfortable in my own skin as I have before because of the hypothyroidism, because of the back injury. Like I said, I didn't realize it was from the falling from the ladder. I thought it was just my arm and the back of my neck. I really didn't feel any back pain until much later, and I couldn't work out, and I didn't associate the pain with the fall from the ladder because it had been so long at that point. And I got off of my nutrition. It's not to say that I went to fast food places, because I didn't. I just wasn't keeping up with food prep, and I wasn't taking as good a care of my metabolism as I should have been. But then I went to the doctor, and I'm going to turn the oven on to bake. And I'm only going to bake these at 350. A lot of people say that you should bake sweet potatoes at 400 or more degrees. But I prefer slow baking them, because when you slow bake them like this, you can reach in and feel, how soft they're getting. And when they get soft enough, that, and this is just by trial and error for me, when they get soft enough, that they're going to be easily mashable, because that's what I do. I mash the sweet potatoes up, and I put them in containers that look like this. So, and then along with the, what do you call, yellow squash and carrots and ground turkey, all that stuff is really good. Now, from here, let me continue on with what I was saying about my metabolism and nutrition. Yeah, I'd gotten to the point that I thought, what else can go wrong for me? Because my metabolism had started acting funny again, and I started putting on weight. And I went to my endocrinologist, and we made some adjustments with the medication. We're waiting to see if that's going to fix itself. I haven't lost any mobility necessarily, except for the low back. I'm talking in relation to the hypothyroidism. I'm still as flexible as I was. The hypothyroidism hasn't affected that. The fall from the ladder affected my back and prevented me from working out pretty much, most of the year, last year. And I'm working out now to build my strength back up, so I can go back to P90X. I love that program more than anything. It's got the perfect amount of weightlifting, push-ups, cardiovascular, yoga. It's a well-rounded program. It's different from other bodybuilding type workouts such as Body Beast and probably Masters Hammer and Chisel. I haven't done much research into that one, but P90X is just a well-rounded workout. I mean, if it wasn't, then military bases and Congress would not be using that program, to keep soldiers in shape. Now, I'm not saying soldiers have to do P90X to be in shape, because obviously what they're doing is, elite type stuff, so they have much more requirements than just a, functional fitness type of workout would provide. They're doing specific types of exercises for specific types of training, which is necessary to help them survive, really, you know. But you know, they do, you know, on military bases, I guess, when they're not actively training for a specific operation or something like that, they do use P90X on bases, and Tony Horton has gone to numerous bases around the world. But you know, I want to get back into doing that. So that's why I'm doing core to force now. I'm trying to build my core strength back up so that I can get back into lifting weights, and I can start seeing the results that I want to see, you know. So for right now, I have to focus on my nutrition, make sure it's the best it can be, and I'm incorporating 21-day fix containers into this. I looked and found some different recipes. I'll just show you this yellow container here. This is for carbohydrates. When I cooked the rice the other day, I used this same pot here, and when I was finished, you just fill up the container, and boom, you got your rice, you know. This is what you consider one carb. And there's a calculation you can do to tell you how many of each container you would require. For example, one egg or actually 2 eggs makes a red container. So you can say this meal would consist of a yellow, half a red, or 1.5 reds, because I've got the chicken that will go in there too. So 1.5 reds and a blue, which would be of, let me show you, I forgot. Or half of a blue, shelled walnuts. I put those on top also. And then I've got a yellow, 1.5 reds, a blue, and then I use spring mix here. I think this is kale. Yep. But I've got kale is what I use for my Shakeology, but I've got spring mix here. It's one whole green container to go in there. So that's a yellow, 1.5 reds, blue, and 1 green. So if that works out for your, maybe you've already got, maybe you've already got 21-day fix, and you know, had some trouble with the calculations. If you do, you can always send me a message, and I can try to help you out with that. That would be free of charge. There's no charge for that, because you've already got the program and so forth. But maybe you just need a little bit of help, you know, with that. And that's what Beachbody coaches do. I mention all the time that I'm a personal trainer and a Beachbody coach. That's what coaches do. When someone buys a program from a particular coach, then that coach is supposed to be there for them, answering questions that they've had, that they have, and providing motivation and support to continue with workouts and so forth. I tell you, at the time I bought Power 90, there was no coaching, period. There was no coaching at all. It was just you buy the program, and if you stick with it, great. And if you don't stick with it, we wish you would, but we don't have a plan in place to help motivate you. Beachbody didn't at that time. Now later on is when they, after people started sending in their before and after pictures of Power 90 and P90X, that's when they developed the coaching program, because what was happening was these people who were sending in their before and after pictures, they were posting them on social media and stuff like that, and other people took notice and were saying, "Hey, what are you doing? You know, how did you get those results?" And they would say, "Well, I did this program or that program." There were a lot of early programs that are still around. I think there's like Turbo Fire, Shalene Johnson, and Turbo Kick, a lot of those kinds of things. Power 90, P90X, I think there's some others besides Sanity. But those were the most popular ones. I think there's, I can't remember the name of it, but they've got so many different programs. But that's how coaching came about. You know, people sent these before and after pictures in, and what I discovered through talking with those people, who a lot of them wound up in the infomercials, they said, "Well, how did you stay on track? How did you do this?" And so they would say, "Well, you know, I posted my stuff on social media and turned a lot of people on to your program, and we just formed a community, kind of." And so Beachbody thought about that, and they said, "Hey, wait a minute. You know, if these people who are using these programs are getting success in turning other people on to those programs, then what we need to do is provide a compensation plan for them." So this was something that was what you might want to call grassroots. It was organic in nature. This was not some big scheme. People talk about it's a pyramid scheme, but it's not. First of all, you have to know what the definition of a pyramid scheme is. And once you know what a pyramid scheme is, I mean, it's clear. Anybody can see that Beachbody coaching is not a pyramid scheme at all. It's a compensation kind of thing. So for you know, turning people on to Beachbody products. So that's all that is. It's like going to a movie. You know, if you, for example, I don't know if anybody watching is a Star Wars fan. Now, when I grew up, Star Wars was a big deal. You know, I was 5 years old when the first Star Wars movie came out, and I can remember getting those first Star Wars action figures. My mom or somebody had told me about them. We lived in Memphis, Tennessee at that time, and anyway, my mom asked me, "Do you want me to get you one?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Can you get me two or whatever it was?" And she and my dad didn't have the money to get me two Star Wars action figures, but they did, and I wanted Luke Skywalker and Chewbacca or something along those lines. And anyway, they came back. My mom and her mom, my grandma, came back from the store. It was a store called the Treasury there in Memphis. They came back from the store, and I guess they were out of the ones that I wanted. And the first two Star Wars action figures that I got were Darth Vader and C-3PO. So that's okay. I mean, I had two, so I'd gotten started with because I eventually got all of them, or nearly all of them anyway. I got those two action figures, but they, even though they were, you know, Darth Vader and C-3PO, I used those two characters, those two action figures, to be every character in the movie. You know, so I was just using my imagination, I guess. But anyway, just recently they came out with a new Star Wars movie, you know, and but I guess that's 20th Century Fox, I guess, or that's who it used to be anyway. I believe who Lucasfilms, whatever it was, it doesn't make any difference. Say for example, and I'm trying to correlate this to coaching. Say for example, you go to see that movie, okay, and J.J. Abrams and all these guys, they spent all their time and money preparing the movie, and decided, Well, once it's out, you know, the way movies typically work, we'll just let it run its course. It'll be word of mouth, it'll spread, people will make their reviews good or bad, whatever, but people are going to watch the movie, you know. And say you went and saw the movie and you liked it, or say that you went and saw the movie and you didn't like it. Either way, it doesn't make any difference. If you told somebody that, hey, I went and saw the Star Wars movie, the new Star Wars movie, and it was so awesome, you've got to go see it. You know, I'll buy another ticket, you come, I'll see it again, you see it for the first time, it's going to be great. We'll have a Star Wars party, so you know, alcohol. So, anyway, yeah, the person who recommends the movie, 20th Century Fox, Bad Robot, J.J. Abrams, they don't pay those people anything. They, you know, they just rely on word of mouth. They don't. It's not that they don't appreciate people spreading the word about their, you know, about the new Star Wars movie. It's just that, one, how would you track that? How would you be able to track that? And how would you be able to compensate? In what way would you be able to compensate somebody who referred another person to go see that movie? Well, Beachbody does that when they have people who refer others to their program, and it's not just the referral process. In order to be a coach, in order to be a successful coach, you have to refer the program, but you also have to stick with the person you've referred it to. If you're going, you know, to benefit in some way from somebody purchasing a program, you're going to be their coach, then you have to be there for that person daily. It's day in, day out. You know, it's personal training through Facebook, or personal training through phone calls. It's a daily type of thing. You know, you're helping to motivate these people and make sure that they get the results, you know, that you got, or that you, in my case, will get again. You know, my metabolism is going to work for me again. My back is going to work for me again, and I'm going to get this. I'm going to stay on top of this. Not that I haven't stayed on top of this hypothyroidism. It's just that it changes constantly, and I have no control over it. So when I start to feel something's going wrong, I've got to go in to my endocrinologist and get the problem solved, or begin to look at what's, you know, the cause of the problem, and see if we can, you know, attack it from 1, 2, 3 different angles. You know, but coaching is for people who refer Beachbody programs based on a person's needs, and then Beachbody compensates the person who referred the program. It's just a monetized way of saying thank you. Really, it's no more complicated than that. It's not a pyramid scheme. It couldn't be a pyramid scheme because it doesn't fall into the definition of pyramid scheme. Most people throw that word around a lot. They don't know what it means. But anyway, so now I've got some rice here. I just need that thawed chicken. And one thing that I don't do ahead of time is I don't put my spring mix in these containers individually. That's one thing that I do put into the green container here every day. So I'll fill up the green container every day just before it's time to eat dinner, because I'll heat this up and then put the spring mix on after that. And then one thing that I do to make it tasty, or a little more tasty, is I use some of this Frank's Red Hot. That's pretty good stuff if you like spicy things. Now, there are other things that I use also, different kinds of spices. This is Weber's garlic sriracha. I think I pronounced that right, I'm not sure. Got things like this one's called barbecue. I've got, let's grab a few of these down here. Korean barbecue, which is really good, especially for bibimbap, since it's a Korean meal that they prepared. Here's chipotle and roasted garlic here. Here's hot pepper blackened. All of these things, you know, I could have cooked my chicken. I could have seasoned my chicken with these seasonings, but then I thought, if I do that, then the rest of, you know, all of that chicken is going to be flavored in that way. So rather than doing that, I decided I'll just season the rice and chicken on each individual day, depending on what mood I'm in. That way I don't have to have exactly the same seasoning on the meals that I've prepared. So these I'm going to go ahead and put in the refrigerator here. So see, I've got tomorrow's ready to go right here. The others are in the refrigerator. They'll stay fresh. That'll stay fresh for a week. I just cooked the rice yesterday, so next. Oh shoot, we've only got about 4 minutes. I think maybe I can get a couple of these things going. What I'll try to do is see how far I can get in terms of preparing two, because I've got 2 eggs, 2 turkey wraps here. Let's see here. I will get out one of these containers, which is here, so that I can weigh. Oh, I've got 3 plates. Okay, good. So I can weigh the turkey. And I think I did this last week. I'll do it again just to show you. I think what I determined was that 3 slices of turkey would be equivalent to half of a red. I believe that's correct. So I'm going to open this up. Yep, smells like turkey, all right. 2, 3. Two and 1/8 of an ounce. So that's going to be 1 and I'll open this package here. I'll grab out 2 slices here. And then put this back in the refrigerator, because I'll need to prepare more turkey wraps for the rest of the week. So I got Sunday, Monday, this will be Tuesday, Wednesday. I need 2 more besides these 2, see? And I can cook these tomorrow, and I can prepare these tomorrow. I can prepare them Monday. I can prepare them any day. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I need to have the other 2 prepared by Wednesday afternoon though. And probably what I'll do is on whatever day I decide that I have time enough to prepare more, I've got another package of this turkey. So I'll probably boil enough eggs so that I've got, I've measured out by day how many I can make. I'll probably boil that number of eggs, and oops, I don't want to throw that away just yet. Boil that number of eggs. I've got the cheese, which is necessary. Let me grab this out real quick. I'll show you that. I think I've got 2 pieces in here. So, ingredients for the turkey wraps: whole wheat tortillas here, turkey, of course, boiled eggs, 2 pieces of cheese. It worked out perfect. Okay, then need a little bit of spring mix. Now for the spring mix, I can't use a whole green here. It would just be too much. It's not possible. So I use half of a green to put on these. It'd be too thick, and you couldn't roll it very well. So I'll use half of a green, which I think comes to about half an ounce, something like that. So that's all the ingredients that go into the turkey wraps. And if we had more time, I could show you that, but we're coming up on an hour. And my second snack of the day, I don't have to prepare it all, really. It's this, I've got Shakeology here. This is actually a vegan brand of chocolate Shakeology. They make a vegan strawberry too. That's a regular Shakeology. And I actually have, there goes the timer. I have greenberry down here. This tastes like green apple, sour apple. This is really good. And what I do with those is I mix all of those with 5 ounces of fruit with, you know, a cup of almond milk, and then blend them up in my magic bullet. And I throw some kale in. I throw half of a kale, half of a green's worth of kale. So that gives me for my greens. That gives me half the wrap, one spring mix, half spring mix for turkey wraps, one whole spring mix for the chicken and rice, and then half for kale. So that's totals 2. And then for the sweet potatoes, I have yellow squash and carrots. So that equals another green. So that's 3. I probably need 4. I'm probably a little short on greens, but there's only so much salad you can eat. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and finish preparing these turkey wraps, and I hope that you enjoyed me coming to you live today, showing you what an hour's worth of meal prep looks like. Hopefully you got some value from it, or at least got some ideas. And if you have any ideas for me in terms of recipes, you know, clean eating recipes, I sure would appreciate any comments that you might leave. Again, if you have any questions about nutrition, if you have any questions about workouts that I could personally design for you, if you have any questions about Beachbody workouts, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have just by, if you click on the link that says message, I'll get back to you as soon as possible. I'm going to finish up here, but then I'm going to come back to you live before I start my workout, okay? And then I'll go live again after the workout to show you the calories that I've burned and show you what you can achieve also, okay? Thanks a lot, Columbia.